Hello, it's me again. Today I want to talk about disc rot and my experience in preventing disc rot. So, I mentioned about my technique and how I try to prevent disc rot in my collection. And first of all, you know that I live in a very humid area, so disc rot is a very, very common problem with optical media, especially with DVD in my area. So if you're living in a place that is not very humid or the climate is not very extreme, then I think you would not get disc rot in your collection as often as if you live in a very, very humid area. So perhaps a lot of you guys, you've never experienced disc rot, and I do hope that you will never ever experience disc rot in your life and in your collection. But because I do experience disc rot quite often, I made videos talking about disc rot, the signs of disc rot, and things that you can perhaps do to prevent that. But there is one particular thing that I mentioned several times, and you probably can see in my videos, but I never dare to claim that this works. So this is just an experiment back then, and it is still an experiment today. I cannot prove that what I'm about to do is going to prevent disc rot. So, if you follow this channel, you probably see a lot of discs like this one. This is a standard, a normal CD, but if you notice, the outer ring is red. Also, the inner ring is also red. That too. And this is not default. This is not normal from the manufacturing. What I did is that I add this red color using a permanent marker. And I thought at the time this could prevent, at least, at the very least, the disc rot from spreading further, or at least from spreading too fast. But I cannot prove that this is scientific. This is not at all scientific, and this is not 100% guaranteed will stop disc rot. But this is just my theory and what I am doing, and I continuously do this to my collection. Now, I am using this theory when I read articles on the internet about physical media, about DVDs and video CDs, and the longevity of the format. I noticed that there's a difference between longevity in burn disc and the blank disc. So these blank DVDs has a different lifespan compared to this one. This is a burn disk. I've already burned data here. It has a different lifespan compared to the blank DVD disk. Now, the blank DVD disc or CD, they got much shorter lifespan compared to the burned DVDs and CDs. There are a lot of different sources out there telling you how long a DVD or CD can last, and they differ. Sometimes the difference is a lot between source. So some sources say 10 years, some sources say 25 years, 50 years, and so on and so forth. So technically, or theoretically speaking, we can make a disk that can live for a very, very long time, 100 years or even longer than that. And we're talking about the normal non-collectors usage. So other people, non-collectors people, when they use the discs, they can live more than 20 years, 50 or 100 years. And imagine if that is for collectors who normally take good care of their collection, they should technically live longer than that. But still, since the technology is perhaps it's not yet reaching 50 years for DVDs, video CDs, and Blu-ray, so we can't really tell that. But the interesting part when I read about the difference of lifespan between the shelf span of a blank DVDs and versus the burn DVDs, I thought, well, this is very interesting. So perhaps there's something that we can do. So you can notice the color of the blank DVDs is different from burn DVDs. So let's take one blank DVDs for a sample. This is also true for CDs, by the way, and Blu-ray. That is the blank disc. The color is blue or purple. And this is the burn disc, same color, but you perhaps can see the difference. The outer part, that is the blank part, because the DVD's capacity is 4.7 gigabytes and the data is less than 4.7 gigabytes. So it only reads the data, and because it's not 4.7 gigabytes, there's a space over there. That is the blank space for the DVD. So the difference in the color is different between the burned one and the blank one. And so this outer part, this blank part, if the longevity of a burned disc and a blank disc is different, if there's a disc rot, it will destroy the outer part first, the blank part first. And what I do is that I start to notice on a pressed CD. I know that pressed CD and burned CDs, they are different technically, but I still notice, by the way, this is with CD, the same thing. This is the burned part and this is the blank part. Same thing with blank Blu-ray. And using this understanding of DVD's blank versus burnt one, and if it is burned and if the disc is going to be destroyed, it's going to occur in the outer part first, the blank part first. I started to notice my CDs and DVDs and Blu-ray collections, like perhaps this one. This is the CD of Starstruck. This is a pressed CD, not a burnt one. But if you flip the reflective layer, you can see that this part is blank and that part is, the part that contains the music. But that part is blank. Perhaps, can you see the difference in color? The color is different. It's just like the burned CD. You perhaps can see that very, very clearly, but it is there. It's different. So this part is blank. And normally, if disc rot happens, it will destroy the outer part first. One thing, it's where both sides meet. So it's the data is sandwiched inside. There's where the layers meet over there. So if there's air that's going to seep through the disc, is going to go through this part first or the inner part first. So we'll always attack disc rot normally will attack the non-data part. So it's going to attack from the outer part or the inner part and then spread. In some cases, it's random, but in most of the cases that I've stumbled upon so far, they always come from the outer part or the inner part, the non-data part. So when disc rot happens, sometimes you would not notice that the disc is broken because it's still playable. It's still playable because the disc rot has not reached the data part of the disc. So this is also happened with this video CD of Intrepid. You can see that over there it's transparent. It should be gold, just like the reflective layer down there. It's gold, but on top it's turning transparent. You can see my hand over there. That's becoming transparent. And that can spread further inside to the data part. You can clearly see the difference in color. There you go. That's where the print label does not touch the edge of the disc. You can see my hand down there. And I use this understanding and think that, this probably can cause further damage, and I must do something to prevent that one, because the part with the print label, they degrade slower, much slower compared to the part without any label over there in the edge. And normally with CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays, sometimes the outer part is not the label does not touch the edge of the disc. And also, again, mentioning how both layers meet over there, air can seep through to that part. And the same thing with this CD of Broke Down Palace. This one is the silver disc. The Intrepid one is the gold disc. It's easier to spot the difference in color. This one is the silver disc. That's the edge. Can you see that my finger over there? The color is fading. So there's no print level over there. That part should be silver. In the beginning, that part is fully silver, but that silver part is not the data part. The data part is already, stamped, written, and it still work, but the outer part, the edge, is already gone. It's fading. The disk is still working, but there's no guarantee that this will not spread. So using that knowledge, using that understanding, what I do is, I think I need to add something. I need to extend the label so that it will, fully cover the part, the edge of the disk. So I need some material that can, write something on top of this and cover this part permanently. And also it has to be something that is liquid and then it will dry. So it will seal any possible small openings that can let air seep through that part. So at that time, I decided to perhaps try to use a permanent marker. This is an outdoor permanent marker. As you can see, paint marker, xylene-free, outdoor use, UV-proof, opaque. These marks on steel, rubber, timber, plastic, etc. Certainly, this one has plastic, and we can use this type of marker to seal this outer part and also the inner part to extend the printed part of this layer of the disk so that all will be covered and perhaps hopefully it will not spread further, just like what I did with Anna and the King. So prior to this one has no color at all. This one is fading. So I added that with this permanent marker, and we will do that with this disc of Intrepid as well. And you can do this for video CDs, for CDs, DVDs, and for Blu-ray. This is the sample of DVD. And the reason why I'm still using this technique to this day, if you notice on top of this part, that is disc rot starting to, eat the disc. But I added this red marker and it thankfully stopped the spreading of the disc rot, or at least it perhaps just slow it down, but still this DVD works just fine to this day. I noticed this part years ago and I applied this red marker few years ago and this one still play just fine to this day. You can apply this to DVD and you can also apply this to Blu-ray. This is my Blu-ray of Pocahontas. I did the same. And in a severe case like this one, this is my DVD of Peter Rabbit. This is a very severe case of disc rot. The glue of the outer part is falling apart, so I could, crack the inner part. What I did was I added some material, like a glue material inside, so it will close the gap, and I apply this red marker. And so far, it helps in preventing this DVD from going bad and unusable. I was not ready to share the information back then because I cannot know for sure. And even today, I cannot, guarantee that this will work. I really was afraid that people will just try to do this and then they would blame me because this would not work. Well, the truth is I would never claim that this will 100% work. This is what I do, and so far it helps, even though a little bit, but it does help. So I'm going to continue to do this with my collection. And it's been several years since the first time I tried this. There's trial and error, and now I use the a particular type of paint marker, a particular brand of paint marker, because I tried several other brand. I tried several other types of paint markers, and this is my conclusion, and this is what I do all the time. But still, I would never claim that this is scientific and that this is 100% going to work. I mean, I was scared that if you try this one and then it does not work for you, you will just blame me. I mean, that's what happened with my videos talking about a walkthrough and a workaround to open the data on interactual player. If your computer cannot support interactual player, how to access the data on the DVD, because the data is there. You can still access the data. It's just not through interactual player. But there are still people blaming my method, saying that they still can't access that one. Well, I never claimed that the method will work 100% there, and here I will not claim that this is going to work 100%. So please be informed about that one. Now, I mentioned again about my method and the specific type of marker. This is because I tried a different marker first, and it's a stronger type of marker. So there are paint marker out there that it's the same usage for steel, rubber, timber, and those things and so on, but it's just so strong. It's very strong. It's too strong that when something happened, like when you miss the part when you try to apply the marker and then you hit the reflective part, you need to clean that immediately because this is a permanent marker for steel. But with some paint marker, paint marker, it's just too strong that it is so difficult to clean the part when you made a mistake. And I've experienced that with this video CD of Alien. The second disc is damaged because I use a different type of paint marker. And it works perfect, but because I apply the marker, a different type of marker, it now has issues, playback issues. When I use the old marker, I apply this over there and I accidentally slip and then it goes through this inner part. So that particular marker that I used ages ago, the tip is just very sharp and it's so difficult to clean that one. And so it actually damaged the reflective layer, the outer part. So the laser cannot read this perfectly. So please be careful when you try to choose the type of marker that you're using. The type of marker, I mean the type of the tip of the marker, and also the type of, I mean the brand of the marker. It cannot be the one that is too strong, but also it cannot be the one that is too weak, like the normal permanent marker. It will not work. Use the marker that's specifically advertised for steel, rubber, timber, and plastic. This one will be a perfect way to do that. Now, what we're going to do first, if the marker is brand new, like perhaps this one, the tip is still round, you need to be extra careful because it's very difficult to apply this on the edge of the disc when the marker is still brand new. But over time, it will be like that, and it's going to be a lot softer and it's going to be easier to apply when the marker is not rounded anymore. So let's try to apply this on this Intrepid video CD. Make sure to be careful, especially when you're writing on the reflective layer of the disc. Now, if you're not sure about the marker, you need to be extra careful because it could happen just like what I did with my Alien video CD. Now we do that on the label part also, and you can be quote unquote less careful here because it will not damage the disc. And I apply more on the print label. There you go. And because the marker is essentially liquid, apply this one also to the edge, to the outer ring, to add additional protection. So if there's any small particles, small holes, imperfection on the disc, it will hopefully seal that one. Just do it gently and carefully. Make sure everything is covered with the red marker. This is why I use red markers. It's not really an aesthetic choice or anything. I just find that red marker is the easiest to do this. You can really track um, the you can really track the paint, and you can see the difference between the part that's already being applied or the part that's still missing some spot. Check that one. I tried with the silver one, and that's quite difficult because the color of the reflective layer is also silver. Go, and red looks very good on the disc actually. And you can do that for the inner part. Again, when you're doing it on the reflective layer, you need to be very careful, extra careful. Just do that. And on the top, apply the marker here too. Sometimes the gap between the top and bottom layer is not perfectly sealed, and if you put some stress, press a little harder over there, the paint will seep through there inside and hopefully seal all of the imperfections and prevent air from seeping through and damage your disc. Now it is done for this disc. Wait for it to dry before you put it back on the disc jewel case. So that's what I do to quote unquote prevent my collection from fading away too soon. And I take a look at that. I did that for this entire series. You know, hopefully it will prevent any further damage, or sometimes there's no damage at all, but I started to notice the outer part is fading just like the video CD of Intrepid over here. The outer part is fading. You can see my finger down there. The print part is gone. It's fading. The disc is to work perfectly fine. It's still not suffer from disc rot, quote unquote, just yet. But there's a possibility that this will spread. So that's what I do to prevent, hopefully, again, hopefully. And this will not 100% work, as I mentioned over and over again. So I do not want people to come and then say that your technique does not work and blah blah blah. I never claimed that this will 100% work, and this is still an experiment. I'm still trying to experiment perhaps between different types of marker in the future and different conditions, and I'm still need to try to wait a little longer whether this is going to work, and perhaps that DVD of bedtime stories is going to see that in a few years to come, whether that holds up or not. But yeah, that's just the way I do that, because some people ask me about this on the comments and on personal chat on my Instagram. They ask, "What did you use to do that?" because I noticed that your disk, there are red markers on the edges of your disk. What is that? I want to try that, and this is what I do. I did not want to share this one in the past because I fear that people will say that, oh, this is the way to prevent that. This is not. This is just an experiment, and what I do. This is just one of the techniques that I try to at least prevent the disk from dying prematurely. This is how I prevent disk rot, and this is not 100% work. This is not 100% guaranteed. I have some of the disks that I already, add the marker on the edges, but they still fade away. That they still are broken. You can see in my Discord discussion videos, you can see that those discs suffer from disk rot. They all, not all, many of them got the red markings on the edges. I've already applied the permanent marker, but that still, would not prevent disk rot from happening. But for other discs, most of the discs that has these red markings, they live at least, I don't know, but they just I just I just noticed that the problem does not spread as fast as if I did not apply the red marker on the disk. Again, this is still an experiment, and this is what I do. If you want to try to do this one, be careful, be very careful. Again, choose the marker wisely, the type of marker wisely, and then be very careful when you're holding the disk, because this can damage your disk. If done incorrectly, you can damage your disk, like what I did with my video CD of Alien. I chose the wrong type of marker. It is too strong and the tip is too sharp. It ended up destroying the disk instead of saving it. But if done right, it will be just like that. One, it looks great. The red ring looks great. It gives makes my disk look unique and different from others, and also hopefully it will at least delay the aging of the disc, because the fading printed part is now rejuvenated with a permanent marker designed for plastic and for rubber and for those things for outdoor use. It was designed to stand against the weather. So I think that is all that I wanted to share with you at this very moment. If you're still with me, I sincerely say thank you very much. Take care and goodbye.